I have to ask you, so last season you went through it, you watched yourself. Like, what kind of feeling did you take away seeing yourself as a manager in that like role like that?
Look, when I walked away last season, I was obviously concerned about how I was going to be edited or de depicted, but it was so easy to do your job walking up to a boat and not knowing it, not knowing the crew, the guests coming in, getting to know everything in day one and then get going. It was just, it was so easy to just put the blinkers on and go forward. And knowing that what I saw after season one, I trusted the process a lot.
Mhm.
And I had the same challenges on season two. I walked up to a boat that propulsion system I've never driven before. It was old. It was single screw. It had issues. Now I've got crew coming in I haven't met. It was back in the seat again of, okay, this has to get going. So get into it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it would be really interesting to watch yourself work, because you can sort of take notes on yourself. Did you see anything last season that you came at this season with a different attitude or a different approach?
Good question. I really wanted to be a little bit more assertive on the food quality.
Oh,
And I wanted a big change in the galley. And I asked Aisha after the first week I was with her that we knew we both wanted a big change in service. We had hurdles in front of us that we still couldn't get to where we wanted to get to, but we got through them and we grew there in those departments. Both in the galley and the service did go through some rocky patches, but it was a growing moment.
yeah, yeah. And I remember Aisha said that you were like her fourth stew. Like, it's so great to see you involved. Are you still just as involved this season, or are you stepping back a little bit more?
I'm definitely stepping back a little bit more due to the structure of the boat.
Mhm.
Thalassa was a big boat, and it was a big boat for that deck crew to try and get together, and it was a lot of responsibility for me to hand over on day one. So on season one, I got involved and then pushed back and pulled back. Season one, look, they're on top of it. The weather wasn't kind to us at the start. There wasn't so much going on in the first charter or two, so they got to have that time to get to know the boat, and it was an easy boat to get to know in that regard. So I didn't have to be hands on, and when I did get hands on, I probably got in the way a little bit. So
Well, I know Aisha adores you, and she was just so grateful to have you as her captain. What was it like returning with her this season? Did you find some new things that you guys had to work through, or was it just like, thank God she's back?
look, it's not it's a weird situation because we don't sit there and we just work off each other. We just know it's there. It's kind of like yeah, it's good energy both there. Both her energy and my energy work together. I don't need to ask for something if I know that she wants to put in 100%. I can pick on her for something, and she understands it. She knows it's not me trying to. She actually sees there's a flaw there and won't take it personally and takes it positive and doesn't have a backup against being told what to do.
No, she's great. Now, I do have to talk about this boat. I have never seen anything like this on Below Deck. I felt like I was watching a Wes Anderson movie, kind of. Like, I'm like, what is with this retro? What was different about this boat than the previous ones, and was it harder to maneuver?
Yeah, definitely. Coming into this, I knew I had to have a big challenge ahead of me. Single screw, variable pitch, which means the props move around. You don't have forward and a stern. The props actually turn, and that gives you your forward and back. So you need time to slow down, time to get ready, time to engage and disengage, and it always wants to go to starboard. So you've always got to use the weather, tide, and wind to help you steer. It was it was something to get to know very quickly. So once again, like season one, when we had bow thrusters going down on first charter, this was all in my head. And not only that, you drive from inside, so you don't know what's going on. You need the reliance on your crew outside to tell you exactly where you are. And yeah, that causes issues in the future too.
I bet. I bet. Had you ever like worked with a boat like this? Because it's pretty old.
I have been lucky to have variable pitch on a much larger boat,
Okay.
but it was twin prop, which means you have the ability to move around. When you got the single prop, you lose that pivot ability. So you need to react a lot earlier. Very much like a sailing boat, like when you have all these sailboats going around, these old captains know exactly what they're doing. So, I look at them with a lot of respect.
Yeah. So this was sounds like this was a challenge, in your career to deal with this kind of boat, like a new thing.
Around these reefs, for sure, with the weather we had, most definitely, it was a big deep draft vessel. It's made for catching whales. So to move that thing around those reefs was quite difficult, and it was challenging but rewarding and enjoyable. And I thrive for challenges and some accolades to go along with that through my career. So I'm quite chuffed I got this opportunity.
That's cool. That's cool. Now you mentioned the galley. That was the big problem last year, the kitchen. And the drama was mainly with Ryan, I would say. What can you tease about where the drama is going to kind of come from this season?
Good question. Look, the galley could have been a little bit larger to suit our standards that we wanted to do, but it is what it is. We have to get the job done. Didn't have the storage capacity that we thought it would have, but still we had everything there to get your job going and be 100%. So there's no reason not to. There was, look, the chef this year she's got a different emotion. It's not a cranky, arrogant asshole. It's actually an emotional, come on, let's get through it. It's another growing thing. I really enjoyed it. I had to get her up through those first charters to get going and get over those hurdles, because when she first walked on, it was not what she was expecting, and she felt that. How am I going to get through this? And we see a growth over the first charter.
Oh, that's good. That's great. We also see something. Obviously you can't stay, but it looks like things get very intense with a crew member, and somebody leaves. Like, was this shocking for you as well, or is this something we're going to see build and build and build?
Well, obviously, season one, we didn't have the opportunity to make changes due to COVID, and I don't want to be making changes unless there's an opportunity for growth as well. But when it's not about someone's potential and it's about someone's attitude or discipline or wrongdoing, well, we haven't got time to wait for another one. Sometimes another mess up. Sometimes there is a big line in the sand to make a change, and we did.
Wow. So this wasn't their ability to do their job. It was really their attitudes towards the crew and everything else.
Yeah, there is. I won't say what happened or who it was, but there was a change through the season.
Okay. Yeah. No, it looks horrible and very intense. Now, what about the guests? You had some wild guests last year. Anybody stand out from this last season we should pay attention to?
Oh my God, we had some crackers. Oh my God, and they did go off too. It was 4th of July, especially on Charter One. Well, I really enjoyed our charter guests. The boat it was a lovely boat. It was a little bit small in volume sometimes, but we had some funny weather that wasn't on our favor all the time. But all the guests loved every moment and enjoyed it. And I honestly think that comes down to the attitude of the crew. We really try to invite crew to have a good time, or invite guests to have a good time and enjoy themselves and be comfortable when they come on there. And especially with Asia, you can't help but feel at home as soon as you walk on.
Yeah, no. It looks like we're going to get a lot of diving, and are we going to see some interaction with some of the marine life as well, maybe?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. We're in the right place for all that, and that's what I'm so happy about, that I get for another season to show America what Australian waters are all about, which I've been cruising around for definitely the last 4 or 5 years, but definitely on and off for the last 25 years. I've been up around these waters in Papua New Guinea and far north Queensland, exactly where this season was done. I did spend my COVID period driving a boat all around there. So I knew it like the back of my hand. We do a lot of diving. There's a lot of marine life underneath there, and we get to see it. Then you'll see it on the shots for sure. You'll get envy. The travel agents will be going going over wire. It'll be good.
Yeah, right, exactly. Before I let you go, I do have to ask you, I know I followed your journey with that very scary infection that you had. Like it
Yeah.
was very serious. Can you just kind of tell me what happened and how it all played out?
Yeah, that was. I took my daughter surfing. I did have a little bit of a graze on my knee from a fall on a skate. I mean, on a scooter.
Mhm.
And look, in Bali and in Indonesia, you need to watch, and Philippines, you need to watch when you swim when you've got an open wound. And I did get an infection, and that went on through for about 6 months, on and off. And I kept getting hit with antibiotics during that whole process. If I got a little mark, it would flare up into a bit of a bubble or a blister. So when I got this one, it was actually staph. I had staph in my skin, and it was the size of a tennis ball in 5 days. And I nearly had skin graft. All happened in 5 days. So I was traveling a lot. I was going to see a lot of doctors when it happened. I probably had about 4 different styles of antibiotics over a period of 8 months, and obviously my body was now immune to the antibiotics. But as I've learned about staph, it's actually more in the skin, so I've had to treat and wash my skin. And you got to watch out. Don't swim in tropical waters, especially Bali and all that. After it's been raining, there's a lot of washout in the rivers. So, and a lot of people go down with these issues in Bali and Indonesia and Philippines and tropical, especially in Asia, in the tropics.
How are you now?
Good. It's virtually done. It's virtually not too bad, but it's been 4 months, and I've been lucky enough to have a job where I can take it easy a little bit. I'm working on a boat again, but I can take it easy and give it some time to heal. And I'll be back to see my daughter next week.
Oh, nice. That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that at least. So, also one other question. Social media. Everyone is in love with you. Let's just be honest. Everyone is in love with Captain Cutie. How has that been? Has that been so like wild, or are you sort of used to it now, especially after BravoCon?
Oh, Gina, BravoCon had all started for me, really. Prior to that, I had a photo in Bali with my daughter, and my daughter said, what was that for, Papa? And I said, that's that TV show I'm talking about. She goes, are you famous? I said, no. She goes, you're not my idol. And I said, who's your idol? She said, BTS, the K-pop. Okay. So really, up until BravoCon, I didn't know anything. And then BravoCon really just made me realize how awesome the audience are and how fun they are, how enjoyable they all are, how kind and nice they are. So anything that's coming through on social media from the Bravo clan is nothing but, I know, from people that are pretty cool and enjoyable. And I interact with all of them. I send them back messages. I have time for them. So I really make an effort with as many people as I can, and I enjoy it. I can't get over it. Look, I'm just a boat captain. I've got season 2. I'm happy. I'm going to interact with them all and have as much time as fun as I can while I can.